Welcome to Surrender School.
At Surrender School, we recover. Our mission is to share 12-step and other supportive recovery solutions with those who want a healthy relationship with food. We're not an official 12-step meeting, but we do try to adhere to the spirit of the traditions. If you'd like to donate, you can find the donate at the bottom of the website's front page. And if you would like to do service for Surrender School, there's lots of opportunities. There's a phone number, and you can always get in touch with me. And then this is a QR code to get into the WhatsApp group in case that's what you want to do. So we are doing 12 steps in 12 weeks. Today it's week 10, only 2 more weeks to go. And the agenda is there's prayers, there's reading, experience with the steps. This is my experience, writing for 5 minutes, sharing till 1. And then today actually we'll be reading from the 12 and 12. The actual AA 12 and 12, we'll be reading a little bit from the 12 steps and the 12 traditions from OA. And we'll be reading from the big book because I think that the big book has like the funnest about, it's just so much fun about 10. So I'm going to get us started with the set aside prayer. God, today help me set aside everything I think I know about you, everything I think I know about myself, everything I think I know about others, and everything I think I know about my own recovery, so that I may have an open mind and a new experience with all these things. Please help me to see the truth. And the serenity prayer, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not mine, be done. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and then just go ahead and get us into the big book. Oh my God, I love this reading in the big book on step 10, and I'm going to be on page, and I marked it, and step promises. I marked it and then lost my marker. Okay, so page 84. This thought and the thought of these extravagant promises, the thought that they are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, they always materialize if we work for them. This thought brings us to step 10, which suggests that we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commence this way of living as we cleaned up the past. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God to at once remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends if we've harmed anyone. And then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code. And so, a couple of things about this particular paragraph that I love is that this should continue for a lifetime. I think anybody who has ever worked the steps, we think that possibly, we might get so lucky as to do this one time and then it be over. And thank you that my sponsor told me from the very beginning, this is not something that you do once and you are cured. This can be on a second reprieve. You may get a second of a reprieve from doing the steps, and then you might go back into another unhealthy behavior. And I really like that. So one, we continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. And someone taught me the opposites of those, and I really love that. I put them above that in my big book. So the opposite of selfish is generous. The opposite of dishonesty is truthful. The opposite of resentment, she said, is just compassionate. And the opposite of fear is, am I in faith? So she says that we should also look out for whenever we're actually being generous. We actually decided to be truthful instead of dishonest. Whenever we state that we have compassion, and then like you said, where the chia seed of even a seed of compassion, or also being in faith. So when we are human and we're selfish and dishonest and we're in resentment and fear. And the truth is that I was in those states all the time before somebody told me, "Hey, wait a second. You can get a little freedom and get out of that." I was constantly in that state. So it says that we do um, sometimes people say three things and some people say four things. So we ask God at once to remove them. And maybe we don't know that you're in that moment, but then whenever we finally do realize it, okay, go ahead, please remove them. And we don't just ask God, because God's really easy to ask, but then we discuss it with someone immediately. And that's always my hardest thing. That's always the hardest thing that I have with this entire process. And sometimes the easiest thing is just texting somebody. I mean, if you have a network of people that you can just text, "Hey, I don't want a speech, I don't want a lecture, I just need you to just respond, thumbs up." That's good enough for me sometimes. And then but do discuss them. There is such a different effect of actually discussing it with someone, and then and keeping it to yourself, and then make amends quickly if you've harmed someone. And this is such a great way to do it, that boom, if I've harmed somebody, okay, all right, turn around, let's go ahead and make amends. And then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. And getting out of that, I'm not really into psychology. I'm not into the brain. I've got a lot of friends that are totally into textbooks and things like that. I don't, that's not my real passion, but I do think that when we resolutely turn our thoughts to something else, this is really good brain science. This is really good saying, okay, let's go ahead and get off of this and onto something else. And then, so back to reading, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone. And these are the 10-step promises, or some people call them the hidden promises, because it doesn't really say anywhere about them being promises. I love these. So, for by this time, sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we will recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude towards liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. This is the miracle of it. We're not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality and safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem's been removed. It doesn't exist for it. We are not for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. This is our experience. This is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. And one of the things that uh, I, I really viscerally remember is I struggle with traffic. I live in the Dallas Fort Worth area. This is an incredible amount of traffic that I'm in. I used to drive to Dallas, if anybody knows that city, lots and lots of traffic, and drove in a highly trafficked area. Well, one of my compulsive food behaviors was that I don't like sitting in traffic, and I didn't even really like driving, I don't think. So I would drive and I would have places to stop to eat my food. It was, let's say if I had 30-minute drive, right? I would stop at this place, this place, this place. If I got stuck in traffic, I then had a plan to get off here and get this food. And it was just munching all the way to and from my particular destination. And I learned that in OA. I learned that, hey, this is a behavior that I have modified to keep me protected. Because truly, I probably, if given my wants and wishes and everything that the world could give to me, I probably wouldn't ever be in traffic. I would never, ever sit in traffic. So one day I had been working the program, I had the support. I was, yeah, I had the support. That's just the best way I can say it. I was supported and loved really well. And I remember getting off of work, driving in traffic for 2 hours home. It was bumper to bumper. I could not, this is after a really intense day at work. This is, I wanted to be home a long time ago. This is the fact that I have a lot of behaviors that don't support being in traffic for 2 hours. And I was a nut by the time I got home. I was crazy. I was just absolutely crazy. And then I sat in my driveway and I realized that I, in those 2 hours, had never stopped to get food. I didn't stop at 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee. I didn't stop at Sonic to get a drink. I didn't stop to get food. I didn't stop at the millions of places that I would have stopped at to comfort myself for this situation. And this was the paragraph, you know? Did I act sanely or normally? Does anybody act sanely or normally sitting in 2 hours worth of Dallas traffic? No. But my attitude towards food had just been given to me. I was not fighting it. I wasn't making the conscious decision to call somebody, which I do also. I have a network of people that I can call if I feel like I'm going to go somewhere and get something to eat. I just text somebody, hey, I'm about to go through the drive-through here. This causes me triggers. This causes me uncomfortable feelings. I really would prefer not to do that. I didn't do any of that. I wasn't fighting it. I wasn't avoiding it. I was neutral. I was in a really hard situation that most people would recognize as not being great, but yet I hadn't sworn off of it. The problem was removed. I went home. I think it was probably 8 o'clock at night. I ate the dinner that sustains and feeds my heart, my soul, my spirit, and I was fine. And that paragraph in that instant came true for me. I want to read in the 12 and 12 on step 10. And this is the AA 12 and 12 on page 88. Love this paragraph. Page 88, we're on step 10, we're on the 12 and 12. When a drunk has a terrible hangover because he drank heavily yesterday, he cannot live well today. But there's another kind of hangover which we all experience whether we're drinking or not. That is the emotional hangover, the direct result of yesterday's and sometimes today's excesses of negative emotion, anger, fear, jealousy, and the like. If we would live serenely today and tomorrow, we certainly need to eliminate these hangovers. This doesn't mean we need to wander morbidly around in the past. It requires an admission and correction of errors now. An inventory enables us to settle with the past. When this is done, we are really able to leave it behind us. When our inventory is carefully taken and we have made peace with others, the conviction follows that tomorrow's challenges will be met as they come. And this idea of an emotional hangover, I mean, I didn't come to program until I was, I think, in my, maybe mid 30s. And when I saw emotional hangover, I did not need a dictionary. I did not need someone to explain what that was. In my body, I have a blueprint of what a million emotional hangovers are. You don't need to describe what one was. I was like, oh, yes, yes, I live those every day. I have emotional hangovers all the time. And so the way that I will, for me and my personal body, I'll wake up, right? Something will happen and I'll be a little bit, not okay. And then I'll wake up and I'll start grabbing at stuff. Maybe starting a little fight with my husband. That seems to, I love to do that one. That seems to distract me well. Um, in my mind, reaching for problems that need to be solved that don't have solutions that are easy, starting to addictively find things to solve or problems. I've talked to y'all about the weeds in my yard. That's always a good one, right? The weeds that I have Dallas grass. Yeah, yeah. Do some YouTube videos. That's something that could occupy my crazy brain for the rest of my life, right? And so when I wake up in the morning and I am doing this behavior, there is no peace. I eat well. I take care of myself. Sometimes that just is no caffeine, um, because I'm already crazy. Why would I add more? Why would I do that? And so, like, there's things that I know to do to support myself so that I'm not that way. But then I still am. That's when we can say, okay, all right, so I'm today in an excess of negative emotion. Where was the anger? Where was the fear? Where was the jealousy? Where was, you know, last night, I don't know if any of y'all are can relate. But last night, yesterday was 4th of July. Last night, our neighbors had a huge pool party. I mean, tons and tons of people. We have acre lots, so I'm on an acre. So we've got a lot of space for people to make noise and, party and, there's a lot of space for people to do things. Oh no, there was no, their party was in this house. It was loud. I could hear the music. It was, the kids were, they've got teenagers and they have some pretty crazy parties, right? And the fireworks were just everywhere. I mean, the fireworks, just nonstop in every aspect of the house. And I will say that when I used to eat, these were the things that I would eat over. Just go in the kitchen, that's obviously in the part of the house that's not by the fireworks and the loud pool party and the music, so go in the kitchen, soothe myself, and I don't know if any of y'all did this, but I ate to get drunk. I I ate to get drunk. I ate to numb, and then I would eat so many carbs, or I don't know a lot about food. All I know is that I ate so much, I would be asleep. So would I hear the fireworks? Absolutely not. Would I hear the noise? No, I've eaten too much. It was just that great. And I will say it over and over again. It was a great high. It was such a great high. Just stuffed myself to where I didn't feel anything. I didn't know anything. And, last night, did I have that, that mattress or that, soft landing? Absolutely not. I just had to sit there. I had to sit in my feelings. I had to pray. I did a lot of writing, sitting there right next to the noise, did a whole lot of writing. And I didn't actually reach out to somebody and text them because I wanted everybody that I love to have a good July 4th without me complaining. I was like, I'll complain tomorrow morning. I'm not going to tonight. So, but then, yeah, like that we have things almost every minute of every day that are triggers to my little sensitive nature. I see the cutest videos where these babies, they're real, like you take a little frog and put it in their face really quickly and the babies just start screaming. They're crying and they're so yeah, they're so little tender and they're sensitive. And that is me as a adult, and I am almost almost halfway through my life, and I'm like that little baby. You put a firework in her face, and I'm like screaming and crying, and I can't handle it. I need to go to the kitchen and I need to go to eat, so that I don't have to deal with that. Um, I have this thing written on my 12 and 12, my 12 and 12 from OA, that reminds me the spiritual principle of step 10 is perseverance. And it reminds me that hurt people hurt people. And I am hurting when I am in a situation where I need to let go, where I need to do a personal inventory. So, what does that mean? I hurt other people. It's very important for me to realize that I am not a safe person when I am hurting. And not that I don't, I mean, not that I intentionally am cruel or unkind or loving. I just am not safe when I'm hurting. So I need to continue to take personal inventory. And when I'm wrong, promptly admitted it. And here's the deal about my wrong. Sometimes my wrong can be that, it's 10:30 at night and I have heard my neighbor's pool party, and I've heard the fireworks, and my little nervous system is shot. And my husband can say one thing like, hey, you woke up, do you want to watch a TV show or something? And me go into some sort of rage about how irritated I am with the fireworks. That is me hurting someone because I'm also hurting. And thankfully, I do live with someone. And my sponsor always tells me that people are the miracle grow to my program. If I lived by myself, I would think I was a really great person, because by the time I had gotten it all out on y'all, and, I had done my inventory, and I had all till Sunday to talk it over with my sponsor, and I think I'm okay. But no, in the meantime, there's my husband who reminds me that I'm crazy, by not doing anything at all. And so I love that. So I'm going to finish up with a couple of readings, and then I have a great question for us today. So, page 85 in the big book. It's easy to let up on this spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We're headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We're not cured of alcoholism. Are we cured of life? No, we're not cured of life. As a matter of fact, I love this. I don't know if anybody wants to steal this, but I have on page in my book, on page 60, right? The ABC on page 60 of the big book, that we were alcoholics and we couldn't manage our lives. I am human. I'm a human and I cannot manage my own life. B, probably not me, and no other human could have relieved me of my alcoholism or whatever, my being human, and that God could and would, if he or she or whatever was sought. And so, what we have, we are not cured of being humans or whatever. We're not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. Those are the thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our power along this line all we wish. This is the proper use of the will. And my friend said, my will needs to be aligned with a greater purpose. And on my own, I'm not really sure how to align my will sometimes. And this is one of the great things about step 10, is when I'm not exactly sure, I take my inventory, I do the steps needed, and then my friend also says, is anyone confused that this is a spiritual condition? Is anyone confused? And that can be, I mean, like, my spirit is just this, a spiritual condition can mean whatever it means for you. But is anyone confused that this is a spiritual condition? And then another friend of mine says God pays by the day. which I really like. God, I mean, I don't know, that's such like an old-fashioned term, but God pays by the day, which essentially means that I can wake up nuts and crazy. Whereas maybe yesterday I was also kind of okay and nothing really happened. Like I wasn't up to fireworks till 2 a.m. and my neighbor's pool party. It was actually an okay day. And I wake up and all of a sudden, again, not really great. And some last things I'm going to say about a 10 step. I've done a lot of 10-step inventory, and my favorite was I got on this thing called the train, a 10-step train. And I got on it for a couple of years. I did an inventory. It was very, very, very simple. And it was very guided by you kind of in the forum of the group, you don't really say someone else did something to me. It was pretty much known that whenever you called and you spent this little bit of time, but what that taught me, I did it for 2 years. I called someone every 2 weeks. We did this, it was someone different. So it wasn't the same person. It was someone very, very different. Everybody had tons of different personalities. So, so difficult, with lots and lots of different personalities. And you would just say, hey, listen, this is what brought up resentment. And a lot of times I'd sit there, it would be like 6 o'clock at night or whatever. I'm supposed to call my 10 step train partner. And I'm like, nothing came up. I guarantee you start talking to somebody and something came up. So what I would challenge anyone to do is when you think that there's some time that you have had nothing come up, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. Fun one. So step 10 is continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. And I want you to think of something today or yesterday. So we're going to get really, really, really recent, within the last couple hours or within the last couple of minutes, um, of looking at something that's triggered you. If I'm triggering you, just write an anonymous. You can write about it, but pretend it's anonymous. So that may be triggering you. And that's fine. That's wonderful. That's what we do. I mean, half the time I go on a meeting and I'm triggered by somebody. It's amazing that we can come to these things. So think of something and then do a 10-step inventory on it. And from the big book, that 10-step inventory is just asking yourself about your feelings about it. Did that um bring up any selfishness in you? Did it bring up dishonesty? Did it bring up resentment? Or did it bring up fear? And then asking God to remove them. But today we're going to discuss them with someone immediately, which is ourselves, which is us. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop talking for 5 minutes.
Thanks for recovering with us.